In line with international best environmental practices, the country has put in place several national laws fashioned to regulate greenhouse gases, which include Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, the National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency Act 22, Oil and Pipelines Act 23, Petroleum Act 24, Associated Gas Reinjection Act 25, Hydrocarbon Oil Refineries Act 26, Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative Act 27, National Oil Spill Detection Response Agency Establishment Act 28, Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation NNPC Act 29, Oil in Navigable Waters Act 30. These national laws and dozens of other regulations, as laudable and impressive as they are, remain poorly implemented and not enforced. Any activity that concerns hydrocarbon and emanating from oil and natural gas production falls within the domain of the federal government. This brings carbon credit trading activities within the jurisdiction of the federal government. The National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, under the auspices of the Federal Ministry of Environment, has the responsibility of managing Nigeria's environmental protection and conservation of natural resources.
Even when everybody is talking about economic reform, talking about building infrastructure, if we have tsunami, we don't have an environment to live in the wealth that is going to be created, then we are all gone. The entire world, the whole world today is looking into the future, drafting policy, getting engaged in international discourse on how to begin to use technology to begin to drive most of the processes. Look at the success that we've had in the telecommunication. Look at the dawn of the internet. Look at what this has created to jobless, unemployed people. No matter how minor this could be, government have the responsibility to be able to bring forward a policy, a platform that will be able to weigh all these outcomes, bring it together like an aggregator, and make this to work for people, and we can begin to track our successes against those things that have been set.
The greenhouse gas emission trading companies are exploring Nigeria's carbon credit market by placing price on carbon system. This is on the strength of the United Nations Global Compact Program for Carbon Emission Trade. The carbon credit market in Nigeria, if properly managed, will help reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote clean and sustainable energy technology investment. It also will create employment for the youth. However, there are fears whether Nigeria's federal government will support efforts to implement and enforce enabling laws and regulations, as well as enact new ones that will capture the global policies on climate change.
Policy-wise, there has to be a really serious commitment on climate change legislation. Unfortunately, in my country, in the United States, we're not getting that type of leadership from the top. I think Nigeria can take the lead on the African continent to promote development of climate change and climate change activity. At the same time, I think that each state, it is incumbent upon each state to embrace their own climate initiatives and let state policy drive federal policy.
The text was designed before the G7 leaders brought in their support. Do you understand? The carbon pricing movement is just growing up. And what that means is that COP21 may just go without devising an enforcement. The enforcement will not come by COP21.
Experts believe the country can make over 34 billion naira on sale of carbon credit. Only efforts are being put in place to implement the clean development mechanism and reducing emissions from deforestation and degradation projects.
I was co-chairing a United Nations Environment Programme conference on clean cook stoves a few weeks ago in Paris, and I was talking to a number of the countries, so there's 56 countries, a lot of them from Africa, And one of the countries said to me, if you give us money, we've got no money to build our capacity. And if you give us money, then we can do something. I said, well, if we gave you money tomorrow, what would you do with it? So, then we'd start the process to sort of develop the program. I said, wrong answer. What the international investors are looking for you is that you've already built the process. You've already got the process in hand. You've got a laptop in front of you, you've got access to the internet, and you've got people around you who are intelligent. So you build the process, build a project, so they see when they invest what's going to be at the other end. And then someone from another country, Chad it was actually, I was very impressed by what they said, we don't need money. We've actually basically incorporated the whole financing of clean cook stoves inside our national budget. And we're actually self-sustainable. We don't need this outside money anymore. What we need is experience of best case scenarios on how to address things, speed up our delivery. And that's where really the money should be going into, is helping speed up delivery. Because the money is there wanting to come in, but it's the processes are not there. And that's why I see that people in Africa as a whole want to do things. I mean, there wouldn't be 13 million SMEs in Nigeria doing different things if there wasn't an entrepreneurial spirit here. They want to do things. Now they have to embrace environmental changes, the social societal changes and good governance to address climate change. And the government really should be a leader helping them. They can't fund everyone, but they be a leader, and then the private money comes in.
The country has at least one CDM voluntary carbon market in each of the 774 local government councils in the country. Nigeria remains a veritable ground for carbon credit trading, and being a signatory to the Kyoto Protocol, the country can easily key into the CDM and J1 projects.
We have sun, light, and we have a lot of wind. We have hydro, which we've been tapping into. So I would recommend that we invest more in wind and solar. Now you're talking about financing. I've said it over and over again. There is funding and technology support under the Paris Agreement. You'll see that part of the areas by which we are going to reduce our emission is through the energy generation, through oil and gas and the rest of it. So you find that when we are engaging into renewable energies, like I said, solar and wind, we are indirectly also contributing towards our emission reduction target. So you find it's a win-win situation for us. So now if you do the financial analysis, the benefits in emission reduction, people don't forget to quantify it. That is huge. It impacts on health, it impacts on life. That is one. Then number two, the long-term sustainability for renewable energy is high, it brings the cost invariably cheaper. The only problem you have is the initial cost, the cost of acquisition. And that's where I would like government to come in and support through grants and through programs.
The evolving world of carbon credits or offsets remains a very confusing regime, particularly in developing countries like Nigeria, as there are various programs and offerings. This program contains loopholes which enables carbon credits investors to benefit from destroying industrial waste. The carbon credit initiatives are meant to be real, measurable, and provable, but records show that it's otherwise. For a better and committed carbon emissions regime in Nigeria, there's need for the Annex 1 countries whose companies operate in the country to assist secure improved emissions trading schemes that will focus on better measurement, reporting, and verification. The structure of the trading scheme in the face of current economic climate remains a great concern, as greedy and fraudulent investors are bound to manipulate the system. As carbon credits business gains momentum in Nigeria and other parts of the world, many people are asking, how can one be certain these projects are sequestering and preventing the release of the amount of carbon claimed, and will carbon offsets solve climate change? These and many other questions need to be addressed by players and experts in the system. Overall, carbon credits improve the environment by reducing the amount of greenhouse gases in the Earth's atmosphere. It leads to better air and water quality and healthier communities.
That's our program for this week. Thank you for watching. Do visit our YouTube channels to view this episode and any other episodes of the program. And you can also send your comments to us by writing to earthfile@channelstv.com. See you next week.